Hello, my name is Arnav and this is my first video. I don't really know how to make this perfect yet, but I wanted to start with something that genuinely meant something to me. So, this is not a review but more like a confession. This is why I started One Piece. For those who don't know, One Piece is an anime about a boy named Luffy who sets out to become the Pirate King. But honestly, that description doesn't even come close, of course. Because at its heart, One Piece is about freedom, dreams, friendship, loyalty, loss, love, adventure, everything. It's about people carrying impossible desires in a world that constantly tries to break them. And somehow, they keep moving forward. And that is why, somewhere along the way, it changed me. I didn't start One Piece with the goal of finishing it or like it would change me. I cannot finish it because it's not finished. Honestly, I avoided it for a long time. When I first started watching anime, One Piece was always there. People kept recommending it, people kept calling it a masterpiece, and I kept avoiding it. Because every time I saw the number of episodes, which is more than 1,000 by the way, I thought, no chance. I'm not starting something that long. It felt too big, it felt too much of a commitment. And at that time, I was the kind of person who wanted things to be efficient. Start something, finish, move on. So One Piece felt inconvenient. And maybe that says more about me than I realized. Because I wasn't just avoiding a long anime, I was avoiding a long journey. At that point in my life, I was fine. Not sad, not happy, not struggling. I was fine. Introverted, predictable, living life like it had some kind of checklist. Wake up, do what's required, chase the next goal, finish. And I thought that genuinely that was enough. But looking back, I think I had become comfortable with being numb. Then one day I started One Piece. And suddenly I was in a world where nothing was small, where dreams weren't realistic, they were absolute, where people didn't hold back how they felt. They laughed loudly, they cried openly, fought for each other without any hesitation. They fully lived and enjoyed their lives. And I think that's when it hit me. I had made my own world very small. What this story does to you is pretty slow. It doesn't hit you all at once. It builds, and somewhere along the way, it makes you feel things that you didn't even realize that you were avoiding. It made me laugh again. And then it broke me. It's not just sadness, but everything: grief, loyalty, love, loss, hope, everything all at once. And then I realized something that I hadn't before. I wasn't avoiding the sadness, I was avoiding intensity. And then there's Luffy. Not because he's strong, but because he's free. He doesn't wait for the right time. He doesn't overthink. He doesn't measure life by whether something is practical. He just lives. And I think that's what changed me. Because I was doing the opposite. I was waiting, planning, controlling everything, living for outcomes instead of experiences. And slowly, I started changing. Not overnight, but I became more open, more willing to feel, more willing to step into things without knowing how they'll end. And maybe I'm still an introvert, maybe I'm still self indulgent in some ways. But One Piece made me understand that being true to your desires isn't wrong. And as long as you carry them in the right way, of course, with honesty, with loyalty, with heart, It taught me that wanting something deeply doesn't make you selfish. Sometimes it just means that you're finally listening to yourself. I stopped asking, how long will this take? And started asking, what could this journey make me feel? That's what One Piece did to me. It didn't just entertain me, it changed how I live. The same length that I once avoided became the reason it stayed with me. Because One Piece isn't something you rush through, it's something that you grow with. I started it out of boredom, pure boredom, and I'm still watching it because it reminds me of the kind of life that I don't want to go back to. So, yes, this is my first video. I don't exactly know where this goes, but maybe that's the point. Maybe for once, I don't need to know the ending before I start the journey. So, thank you for watching.